Well, let's take a look at some of the world news now. Ukraine's Air Force says it carried out an airstrike on the Crimean coastal town of Feodosia. One person was reportedly killed in the attack and two others injured. Footage posted on social media showed large explosions near the town's port. Ukraine's Air Force commander says a ship belonging to a Russian fleet was targeted. Local officials say the area has been cordoned off and the fire has been quickly contained. Well, for more on this story, Yulia Shapovalova is standing by in Moscow. But first, let's go to Baig, who is in Kyiv for us. And Asad, can you just give us a bit more of an idea on what has happened with the strike? What exactly was it targeting and what sort of damage has it caused?
Well, according to the Ukrainians, they claim to have destroyed a major landing ship, the Novichoksk, in the port of Feodosia in Russian-controlled Crimea. Now, we understand this is a large amphibious landing ship. We've had no confirmation if any soldiers have been killed in that attack. Now, footage posted to social media shows large explosions. It shows a huge fireball going up into the sky. And this footage was also shared by the Air Force commander, Lieutenant General Mykolai Oleshchuk. Now, it's difficult to independently verify some of these videos, indeed, some of the details of these claims. But what we can tell you is that the Ukrainian Air Force say that on the early hours of Tuesday morning, that they carried out a missile attack on that port of Feodosia. Now, this isn't the first time Ukrainian forces have targeted sites in Russian-controlled Crimea. In last month and in September and even last year, they've said to have targeted landing ships and submarines. And as the war has continued, the Ukrainian military's capabilities and range of their weapons has increased, and that's thanks to weapons supplied to them by their Western allies. But it's important to note, as this war has continued, both sides, whenever they make advances or they carry out attacks, they boast about them and they play them up. And whenever they suffer any losses, they tend to play them down.
OK, thanks so much for that update. That's Asad Baig for us in Kyiv. Well, let's bring in Yulia now. She's live for us in Moscow. And as Asad was mentioning there, this is a large landing warship. What's been the reaction from the Kremlin?
Well, yeah, exactly. So Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu has briefed President Putin about the situation, about the Ukrainian attack on the Crimean port of Feodosia and the damage sustained by the Novichoksk landing ship. The Russian side does not specify how badly the ship was damaged. We know, just an update for you, one person has died and 4 have been injured as a result of the attack in Feodosia. We've heard from head of Russian-controlled Crimea, Sergei Aksyonov, reporting the attack on the port, and it took place, as Assad said, in the early morning hours today. According to him, there was a detonation in the port followed by a fire, which later was put out. As the Russian Ministry of Defense clarified, the Ukrainian aviation used aircraft-guided missiles, presumably these Storm Shadow missiles, while the Russian air defense destroyed 2 Ukrainian Su-24 bombers that actually had launched the missiles targeting the port of Feodosia. The large landing ship in Novichoksk was damaged, as we know, as well as the maritime terminal there. And according to some Russian military correspondents, the landing ship was presumably heavy loaded with equipment and/or ammunition, judging by the detonation. And the Ukrainian side says it was carrying Iranian Shahed drones. Russian authorities also reported damage to 6 other buildings nearby, with mostly shattered windows there. And now it's planned to resettle residents of several houses near the emergency site. That's according to the Russian authorities here.
OK, thanks so much, Yulia. That's Yulia Shapovalova for us in Moscow.